welcome to a book obsession. So this is going to be book 5 of Jay Mclean's More Than series. This is More Than Enough. It is Dylan and Riley's story. And you know what? I gotta say, it's really hard to choose your favorite in this series. It really is. All of these people are absolutely incredible. I'm sad that this series is going to end, but I will tell you that Jay Mclean really did get me. I think that I would absolutely read any of her books from this. I don't know how Jay came up with an even more unique story than the ones that we've read up to this point, but that really is what this is. So Dylan went off to the Marines. You know about that from Lucy and Cam's book. So the book begins with Dylan coming home on medical leave. He's been shot in the shoulder. He has some difficulty sleeping, a little bit of nightmares, and then he just has his shoulder to heal. While he's home, he gets annoyed at the neighbor for having her music blaring, and he goes over there and meets her, and then they start hanging out, and the neighbor's Riley. So Riley does not leave her home. She hasn't in, I believe, 2 years. She went through some traumatic event in her life 2 years ago that has now led her to be a hermit and stay in her home. She drinks all day. Her mother supplies her alcohol, even though she's only, I believe, 20 years old at the time. And this book, for the first half, is about Riley and Dylan almost helping each other get through the stuff that they've gone through. Dylan's going to help Riley get over the situation that has led her to be locked up in her room and having her drink all day. At the same time, Riley is going to take it upon herself to help Dylan make sure that his shoulder gets better and that he can go back to Afghanistan in really good shape, you know? So by the time that Dylan is healthy enough to go back to Afghanistan, they have a relationship that I absolutely love. Dylan makes sure that Riley's mother's completely comfortable with the situation. Oh my gosh, you're gonna get to know Dylan's father, who he's kind of one of those quiet, silent types that are just an incredible guy when he actually speaks. Riley's mother is absolutely just has my heart. So I don't want to tell anybody exactly what happens, but essentially after his time in Afghanistan, Dylan comes home again, and it's a week earlier because of a situation that arises. This time when Dylan comes back, he has PTSD, and he doesn't want to deal with it. It leads to a lot of situations that kind of snowball and get bigger and bigger and bigger until a point where Holly, Riley's mom, actually steps in, and that's why I say I absolutely loved her. Holly confronts Dylan and says, is this what's going on? Is any of this not true? And because of the fact that Dylan can't deny what's been going on, then Holly steps up, and even though Riley's crying and screaming about it, she takes Riley. And I think it's important that Holly gave Dylan the opportunity to deny what was happening, or maybe explain if the situation wasn't exactly what she thought it was, but because it was, Holly wasn't going to risk her daughter, and especially after some of the stuff that Riley's gone through before. And I love that Holly did it. I absolutely loved it. Would have supported it. I would have gone over there and helped her if I could myself, right? So I loved that Jay wrote that. Anyways, so like I said, Holly takes Riley, and I think that kind of gives Dylan a wake-up call, because then you do have Jake and Logan and Cam help Dylan appreciate what he had in his life. After a little while, Dylan's going to wake up, realize he needs Riley in his life, and because of a situation that is essentially his fault, he has a broken leg and some other injuries. So Holly kind of takes pity on him and agrees to let him stay with them. At the same time, Holly does bring up the PTSD with Dylan and essentially say, you have to talk to someone. If you want me to trust you with my daughter, you have to work on yourself and get this under control. So I really appreciated the fact that she, again, handled it really well, that she thought of her daughter, and she didn't want to keep them apart as much as she just wanted to make sure that the environment was safe. And I really, really honestly just absolutely loved that. Holly laying down the law really does help Dylan to kind of spur movement and actually start making changes and seeing someone for his PTSD and stuff like that. And it's just, for me, it was incredible. I think that PTSD is one of those things that we treat like it's something to be ashamed of, where the truth is that if any part of your body went through trauma, if your leg, your head, then you're going to have a concussion or a broken leg. So why doesn't it not make sense that when you go through something that psychologically is traumatic, that you would need help mentally? And it shouldn't be a shameful thing in any way. So I love that Jay wrote a story that it wasn't about the shame of PTSD. It was about the fact that he didn't get help. It was about the fact that so many people cared about him, and they were going to fight him until he took care of himself. And there was a brief part of time where Riley did try to help him kind of cover it up and stuff like that. And to see the fact that does not help. There is no blanket you can throw over PTSD and make it look okay. You have to get help. That's the only way that there really is going to be an answer for getting better. Anyways, I love that this book shows him before PTSD, the situation that created it, after PTSD, and then him getting help. And the fact that after he got help, his life went back to friends and family and happiness. It didn't prohibit him from moving on and having those things in his life. I think that that was a very important message that Jay included. Anyways, the end of this book is absolutely perfect. It's the perfect for this series. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. Again, that's the More Than series by Jay Mclean. I always put the author's link to the books as the very first link in my description, so you'll be able to pick up the whole series there if you want. If you like this, you could go ahead and like it. If you have any questions or comments, please put those down below. And if you want my reviews every week, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you all for joining me.